Chosen one, as you read these words, know that this moment is not a coincidence. Heaven has carefully orchestrated everything for you to hear this message. There's a divine plan at work in your life, and right now, you are in the right place at the right time. This isn't just another passing moment. This is divine timing, a moment where the heavens align to give you what you need: most clarity, understanding, and affirmation. You are here because God has been speaking to your heart, and this message is a confirmation of His plan for you. For so long, you have walked through periods of silence, waiting for answers, for signs, for something to shift. But silence, beloved, has often felt like absence. You have wondered if God was listening to your prayers or if He had forgotten you. The delays, the unanswered questions, the confusion, all of it seemed like denial. You might have asked, why is nothing happening? Why do I feel so distant from God, as if His presence has disappeared? But I am here to tell you that this silence, this waiting period, has never been about abandonment. It has always been a form of divine protection. God has been moving in ways you couldn't see or understand. Every moment of silence has been part of His plan to shield you, to guard you, to protect your heart, and to preserve your destiny. The delays you faced weren't signs of rejection. They were moments of divine preparation. The obstacles you've encountered weren't meant to break you. They were part of the process of fortifying your spirit, teaching you endurance, and refining you for something greater. Heaven, in its perfect wisdom, saw things you couldn't see. It saw the dangers, the pitfalls, the wrong paths that could have led you astray. It knew the timing wasn't right, not yet. You've questioned the silence, perhaps even doubted God's presence in your life because it felt like He wasn't answering. But His silence was never absence. It was protection in disguise. It was a sacred pause. God knew exactly when to step in and when to pull back. There were moments when you tried to rush things, to force open doors that seemed to resist you at every turn. But every time you pushed forward, feeling exhausted, like you were fighting against a wall, God was silently working behind the scenes, ensuring you wouldn't step into something that would cause you harm. He saw the traps, the counterfeit opportunities, and He knew exactly when to intervene. This message is not just about understanding what's happened in the past, but also about recognizing that what you've been through, the silence, the waiting, the delays, was never about punishing you. It was about setting you apart. You are not meant to blend into the crowd. That's why you couldn't move like everyone else. Your life, your journey is different. It has always been different. And God, in His infinite wisdom, has been protecting that difference. He has been shaping you, preparing you for something far beyond your own understanding. He has been refining you through the silence. You may have felt isolated at times, but that isolation was not rejection. It was an invitation into intimacy with God. It was during those quiet moments that He could speak to you, not in the noise of the world, but in the stillness of your soul. When everything around you seemed to fall apart, when relationships shifted or doors closed, it was God in His mercy ensuring that nothing would disturb the divine work He was doing inside you. Every no, every closed door, every delay was part of a bigger picture, one that you couldn't yet see, but was always part of God's perfect plan. The silence you've experienced, though challenging, has been a sacred space of divine construction. God has been building something inside you that cannot be rushed. He's been aligning your heart, your mind, and your spirit with His will. The waiting has been a time of preparation, a time when He was strengthening your resolve, deepening your faith and building your character. It hasn't been easy, and you may have wondered if you were doing something wrong or if you were missing something. But the truth is, you were never missing anything. You were in the process of being made. God was crafting you not just for the life you are living now, but for the purpose He has set before you, one that requires patience, endurance, and a heart that is fully aligned with His. So take heart, chosen one. The silence wasn't punishment. It was protection. It was preparation, and it was necessary. You are where you are because God has been guarding you, shielding you, and preparing you for what comes next. Every moment of waiting, every tear, every unanswered prayer has been part of the beautiful divine plan God has for you. Now, as the silence begins to break, you are stepping into the fullness of what He has been preparing you for all along. The waiting is over, and you are ready to hear His voice once again. This time you will know it with certainty, for you have been prepared to recognize His call. As you reflect on your journey, it becomes clear that the protection you've experienced in your life has not always been visible. There were times when you faced challenges, uncertainty, and even isolation, and it seemed as if nothing was unfolding the way you had hoped. But even in the quiet moments, in the places where it seemed as though God had stepped back, He was in fact enveloping you with a shield of divine protection. This shield was not always apparent to you, but it was there guarding you against dangers you couldn't see and protecting your destiny from forces you could not yet understand. This invisible protection was not the absence of trials, but the assurance that you were never alone in the battle. You might have found yourself walking through periods of confusion, periods where it felt like the world was moving without you, leaving you behind in silence. Yet even in these moments, heaven was working tirelessly on your behalf. Behind the scenes, angels were dispatched to shield you from things that could have derailed your journey. Every step you took, every decision you made, even in your uncertainty, was surrounded by heavenly guardians, ensuring that the path you were on remained the one meant for you. It is crucial to understand that these invisible forces were not only working to prevent immediate harm, but also to safeguard your long-term destiny. In your moments of doubt, when you questioned whether God had forgotten you or why things weren't working out the way you had planned, heaven was at work in ways you could not perceive. God, in His infinite wisdom, knew exactly what dangers were approaching and precisely how to protect you from them. The shield of divine protection didn't just guard you from immediate threats, but it also positioned you in such a way that you wouldn't step into situations or relationships that could have distracted or even destroyed your purpose. When certain things in your life fell apart, when relationships dissolved, when opportunities were missed, when doors closed without explanation, it felt like the world was conspiring against you. But what you couldn't see in the moment was that these closed doors were not rejection. They were God's way of blessing you with a future that was greater than what you had imagined. These closed doors were actually blessings in disguise. They were divine interventions that kept you from entering into places or relationships that would have harmed you, that would have pulled you off course from your true calling. It may have felt like a loss at the time, but looking back, you can see how each closed door was a gift. God knew that some paths would lead to pain, to distractions, or to situations that would have been too overwhelming for you to handle, and so He closed them before you could walk into them. It's in those moments of seeming rejection, of doors closing in your face, that heaven was actually protecting you from what you didn't need. People left your life, situations changed, and what seemed like setbacks were in fact a reordering of your steps. The relationships that fell apart whether friendships, partnerships, or even family connections, were part of God's divine plan to keep you safe. You were never meant to walk with everyone. Some people, even those who once seemed close to you, couldn't go where you were destined to go. They were exits, not enemies. God removed them from your path because they weren't aligned with the purpose He was preparing for you. Their departure was not a reflection of your worth, but a sign of His love and protection. While you were wondering why things didn't work out the way you planned, God was fighting silent battles for you. These battles were not fought with swords or shields, but with divine strategy and protection. Heaven wasn't silent in your trials. It was working behind the scenes to protect you from spiritual attacks, from traps set to derail your progress, from curses trying to weigh down your future. You couldn't see these battles being fought, but they were real, and God was working in ways you couldn't understand. Angels were dismantling the schemes of the enemy, reversing curses, and clearing the spiritual obstacles that sought to block your way. You may not have heard the noise of the battle, but heaven was roaring on your behalf, defeating the forces that wished to hinder your destiny. Even in the quiet times when it seemed like God wasn't speaking, He was still actively at work. His silence was not absence, but presence in a different form. It was a silence that held power, a silence that carried strength. You may have wondered if He had forgotten you, but His silence was simply the absence of chaos. It was in that stillness that God was protecting you, preparing you, and ensuring that the timing of your breakthrough would align perfectly with His divine will. You see, every no you experienced in your life wasn't a sign of divine denial. It was a divine not yet. The timing wasn't right. The people weren't right. The circumstances weren't ready. But God, in His infinite wisdom, was keeping you in preservation. The times when you prayed for something to come to fruition, for opportunities to open, and they didn't, it wasn't because you weren't worthy. It was because God was ensuring that you weren't stepping into something that could hurt you. His love for you is so deep, so complete, that He refuses to allow you to walk into anything that isn't part of the greater plan He has for your life. Divine delay, chosen one, is not rejection, it is preservation. Each delay has been an act of love, keeping you from the wrong places and relationships, protecting you from what could have taken you off course. You may have thought that nothing was happening, that your prayers were unanswered, but in reality, God was working on your behalf, preparing you for what He had in store for you. His timing is perfect, and what seemed like a delay was simply divine construction. He was building the right foundation for your breakthrough, aligning everything in the universe so that when the time was right, everything would fall into place. So take heart, chosen one. The battles you couldn't see were fought for you. The closed doors were blessings in disguise. The silence was God's way of protecting you, preserving you, and preparing you for the greatness that is unfolding before you. You may not have understood it at the time, but looking back, you can see how every moment of waiting, every unanswered prayer, and every closed door was part of God's plan to protect and guide you to where you are meant to be. You were never alone. You were always shielded by divine love. And now, as you step into your next season, you will see how every delay was simply part of the grand design for your life. You are not forgotten. You are protected. And what's coming next will be worth every moment of waiting. As you look back on the seasons of your life, you may begin to see them in a new light. The moments when you felt alone, when the noise of the world grew distant, and when the bustle of life seemed to pass you by, were not periods of punishment. They were moments of divine separation, moments when God was setting you apart. You might have felt isolated, disconnected from the people and places that seemed to define your life, but that isolation was not a rejection from heaven. It was a sacred gift. God wasn't pushing you away, He was drawing you closer. This process of isolation, though difficult, was God's way of preparing you for something far greater than what you had imagined. In the stillness, He was refining you, reshaping your spirit and teaching you to rely solely on His voice. When you couldn't hear the applause of others, when no one noticed your efforts, and when it seemed like the world had moved on without you, God was moving in ways that words cannot fully capture. He was using the absence of external validation as a tool to build a deeper, more intimate relationship with you. It was in those quiet moments that you learned to hear His whisper, to feel His presence, and to trust in His timing without the constant reassurance from the world. God knows that to fulfill the divine purpose He has for you, you could not move as others do. Your path is different, your calling unique, and your purpose requires a different kind of preparation. The world teaches us to measure success through constant noise and validation, through likes, comments, and external recognition. But heaven measures success in a different way. It's about the depth of your intimacy with God, the purity of your heart, and the willingness to follow His lead even when no one else understands. You were never meant to blend in with the crowd. God has always been setting you apart for something greater. And while it may have felt lonely, this time of isolation was necessary for you to grow into the person you were always destined to become. Isolation, though painful at times, was also the space where you could get to know yourself in ways that were not defined by the world's standards. It was a time when God removed distractions so that you could focus on Him and on the inner work that was necessary for your next season. There are things that only silence can teach you. In the stillness, you were forced to confront parts of yourself that you may have overlooked in the busyness of life. You were forced to confront your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities, but also your strengths, your resilience, and your faith. You were not running from something. You were being prepared for something. God knew that you needed this time to grow spiritually and emotionally to become the person He could trust with the next chapter of your life. It is in this quiet space that God was rearranging things for you. You may not have seen it, but behind the scenes, heaven was busy at work. Separation, whether from people, places, or things, wasn't rejection, it was divine rearrangement. God knew that for you to step into your higher calling, certain things needed to change. Some relationships needed to shift, some opportunities needed to be delayed, and some doors needed to remain closed. These were not missed chances. They were divine protections. You were being shielded from what was not aligned with your destiny. God was making sure that when the right time came, you would walk into your purpose with a foundation solid enough to withstand the weight of the responsibility you were about to carry. God's divine construction is often built in the silence. We live in a world that glorifies speed, instant gratification, and visible success. But God's way of working is different. He doesn't rush the process. He is patient, intentional, and meticulous in how He builds our lives. Every moment of silence you experienced wasn't a time of inactivity, it was a time of divine construction. He was laying the foundation for your breakthrough, preparing your heart, your mind, and your spirit for what was to come. Each day you spent waiting, each moment of uncertainty was a piece of the puzzle that needed to fall into place before your destiny could fully unfold. You weren't being forgotten, you were being prepared. In the silence, God was doing a deep work that you couldn't see, but that doesn't mean it wasn't happening. There were times when you wondered why things weren't progressing as you thought they should, when you questioned if you were on the right path. But all the while, God was carefully aligning your life. He was building you from the inside out, creating a strong foundation that could support the greater things He had in store for you. Without this period of silence, without this time of separation, you wouldn't have been able to handle the weight of what was to come. God knew that the breakthrough you were waiting for was not just for you, but for others. The people connected to your purpose needed you to be strong, grounded, and rooted in your faith. And so in His love, God allowed you the time to grow in stillness. You may have questioned the delay, wondered why you were being held back while others seemed to move forward with ease. But now, as you look back, you can see that every moment of silence, every delay was a necessary part of God's divine construction. He was building something beautiful, something lasting, something that could withstand the trials and challenges of life. Your breakthrough is not just a moment of success, it is a culmination of everything God has been doing in you during the silent seasons. The stillness was never meant to discourage you. It was meant to prepare you for what lies ahead. God has been at work shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for the greater things that are coming. Now, as you step into this new season, you will see the fruit of all the work God has done in the silence. What you thought was inactivity was actually the most crucial time of preparation. God was strengthening your faith, deepening your trust, and teaching you to rely on His voice above all else. The next chapter of your life is not a random event. It is the manifestation of everything that has been building in the quiet, everything that has been taking root beneath the surface. And now, as the silence begins to break, you are ready. You are ready to walk into the fullness of your purpose, knowing that the foundation has been laid, the preparation has been completed, and you are exactly where you need to be. Embrace this next chapter with confidence, knowing that every moment of stillness was not wasted. It was all part of the divine construction of your life. Every season, every trial, every delay was a necessary part of the process. You are walking into a future that is built on the strong foundation of everything God has been doing in the silence. Now is the time to move forward, to embrace the new opportunities, and to trust that the divine construction of your destiny is unfolding perfectly just as it was meant to. As you stand at the threshold of this new chapter, it becomes abundantly clear that the silence you've endured has not been in vain. Heaven has been carefully orchestrating everything in your life to bring you to this very moment. Divine timing has been at work aligning people, circumstances, and events in a way that will soon make perfect sense to you. What you may have seen as long periods of waiting, of unanswered prayers, of uncertainty, was simply the preparation for the most important part of your journey. Now that season is drawing to a close. You are ready to step forward into the next chapter of your life. The time has come for you to walk into your purpose, and the path that has been cleared before you will lead to extraordinary things. For so long, you may have felt concealed, hidden away from the world's view, as if you were standing at the edge waiting for something to change. But all along, God was allowing you to be shielded for a reason. What seemed like a season of obscurity, of being unseen, was actually a time of preparation, a time when God was keeping you safe, refining you, and equipping you for what comes next. His protection over you was never meant to be permanent. It was a temporary covering, a shield that was necessary for the development of your purpose. Now, the time for concealment has ended, and what was once hidden is about to be revealed. The same protection that God provided will now serve a greater purpose. It will be transformed into a platform for you to step onto, for the world to see the fullness of what He has been building inside you. The protection that once concealed you was never about hiding your light. It was about ensuring that your growth was uninterrupted, that your foundation was strong enough to support the weight of the calling you are about to carry. The purpose that has been growing within you, though unseen by others, has always been unfolding. But now, as the veil of silence lifts, what was once hidden will be revealed. You will begin to see why the journey took the shape it did, why you had to endure the waiting, the challenges, and the isolation. Every step you've taken, every moment you thought was wasted, has been part of God's master plan to prepare you for this very moment. You were never overlooked. You were simply being prepared to stand in the fullness of your purpose. The waiting, the silence, the hidden seasons. They were the very tools God used to refine you into the person you are now. The end of silence does not mean the end of the work. In fact, it marks the beginning of a new phase in your journey. As God unveils what has been hidden, you will see how every moment of waiting has shaped you into the person you need to be to step into your purpose. The things that once felt confusing, the moments of doubt, will suddenly come into focus. You will recognize that everything you have endured has been to make you stronger, wiser, and more aligned with the divine calling on your life. The silence was not an obstacle, but a stepping stone that led you to the place you are now. It has given you the clarity to see with new eyes, to walk with confidence, and to embrace the power that is now stirring within you. This is the moment you have been waiting for, the unveiling of your purpose. What you once thought was hidden from the world is now ready to be shared. The divine revelation that is about to unfold will be a testimony to the power of God's timing. You may have questioned whether you were truly ready, whether the dreams and promises God whispered over you would ever come to pass. But now, as the silence lifts, you will see that everything was being woven together perfectly, even in the moments when it felt like nothing was happening. The waiting was not for nothing. It was the very thing that prepared you to shine. Now you are stepping into your purpose, not as someone who is unsure, but as someone who is fully equipped for the journey ahead. Every challenge you faced, every delay you experienced, every tear you shed was part of the divine preparation that has made you who you are today. You have been shaped by the silence, refined by the fire, and made strong through the waiting. Now you are walking into your purpose with the strength, wisdom, and clarity you need to fulfill your calling. Heaven has been setting the stage for you, and you are ready to step into the spotlight. This is not a moment of hesitation. It is a moment of certainty, a moment where everything you have experienced comes together in perfect alignment with your divine purpose. You are not walking into this season alone. God has gone before you, clearing the path, preparing the way for your success. The foundation that was laid during the silent seasons has now been tested and solidified. You are walking into a season where the things that once seemed impossible will now become possible. The doors that were closed will now open, and the obstacles that once stood in your way will no longer have the power to stop you. You are walking in the fullness of your purpose, equipped to handle what comes next with grace, strength, and divine authority. As you step into this next chapter, remember that this moment is not just a new beginning, it is the fulfillment of everything God has been working in you. The silence you once feared was the very thing that prepared you for the greatness ahead. The protection, the waiting, the refining, all of it was necessary for the purpose you are now walking in. And as you move forward, take comfort in knowing that you are not alone. Heaven is watching, and you are surrounded by divine favor, grace, and support. This is the moment of revelation. The time for waiting has passed, and now the world will see what God has been building in you all along. You are stepping into the fullness of your purpose, and everything that once seemed hidden will now shine brightly for all to see. You were never meant to remain in the shadows. Your purpose is too great, your calling too important. The time has come for you to step into the light, to walk boldly into what God has prepared for you, and to embrace the destiny that is now unfolding before your eyes. So walk forward, chosen one, with confidence. You have been prepared for this moment. Every delay, every moment of silence, every season of waiting has been a part of God's perfect timing, and now you are ready to step into the fullness of your divine purpose. The silence has ended and the revelation has come. You are walking into your purpose, and the world is about to see the greatness that God has placed inside you. Your time has come, and it's time for you to shine. As you reflect on your journey, one thing becomes clear: the silence you once feared, the times when you felt abandoned or overlooked, were never signs of God's absence. Instead, they were the sacred moments of divine preparation. In those quiet seasons when you couldn't see God's hand at work, He was still moving behind the scenes, protecting you in ways that words can't fully describe. His protection was not loud or forceful. It was a gentle and steady covering, like a shelter from the storm. He knew exactly when to pull you back, when to hold you still, and when to shield you from things you couldn't yet understand. You were never alone. While the world may have felt distant or unkind, heaven was always close, guiding you through the darkest of times. Every unanswered prayer, every delay, every closed door, these were not signs of abandonment, but signs of divine protection. God, in His infinite wisdom, was ensuring that you were being shaped, refined, and prepared for the purpose He had set before you. The protection you received during these seasons was not just a physical shield, but a spiritual one, keeping you from the snares of life that could have derailed your destiny. You were being protected by God's unseen hand, preserving you for a time when you would be ready to step into your calling. Now, as the silence begins to lift and the stillness gives way to divine revelation, you are entering a new season, one of awakening. The time has come for you to rise from the place of preparation and step boldly into the purpose that has been waiting for you. The same God who concealed you, who kept you hidden in the quiet places, is now unveiling you for something greater. You have been prepared for this moment. Every trial, every season of waiting, every moment of isolation was meant to build you up, to strengthen your character, and to deepen your relationship with Him. Now, as God reveals you to the world, you are no longer the person you once were. You are stronger, wiser, and more grounded in your purpose. This awakening is not just a shift in your external circumstances. It is a transformation of your spirit. You are being awakened to the fullness of who you are and the fullness of your purpose. You are no longer waiting for something to change. You are the change. The silence which once felt like confinement now feels like the fertile ground from which your true calling will blossom. The light that was once hidden beneath the surface is now rising, and you are stepping into it with confidence and grace. This is the moment you've been waiting for, the moment when everything that seemed like a struggle or a setback will now make sense. The purpose you were meant to walk in is no longer a distant dream. It is your reality. With this awakening comes a call to action. It is time for you to embrace this new chapter with gratitude and confidence. God has been with you every step of the way, and now as you walk into the fullness of your divine purpose, He is continuing to guide you. There is no need to fear what lies ahead. You are walking in alignment with the very purpose for which you were created. You are not just stepping into your destiny. You are stepping into the destiny that has been divinely designed for you since the beginning of time. Every step you take from here on out will be guided by heaven's rhythm, and every action you take will carry the weight of divine authority. You were chosen for this journey. The road you've walked, with all its twists and turns, has brought you here. It has shaped you into the person you are today. someone strong, resilient, and capable of fulfilling the purpose you were born to fulfill. Now is the time to walk forward with confidence, knowing that you are not alone. Heaven is cheering you on, and the angels are surrounding you. Your purpose is not just about you, it is about the impact you will have on others, the lives you will touch, and the change you will bring to the world. So embrace this awakening. Step boldly into the light, knowing that you are walking in the fullness of divine alignment. You have been prepared for this moment. Every season of waiting, every moment of silence, every closed door, and every delay was all part of the divine plan to prepare you for what is coming next. Now that you are walking in alignment with your purpose, you are ready to receive the blessings, opportunities, and breakthroughs that God has been preparing for you. This is your time. Walk in confidence, walk in gratitude, walk in purpose. The world is ready for what you have to offer, and heaven is ready to reveal the fullness of your destiny. The time for waiting is over. The time for walking in your purpose is now.